Are you in a dungeon, man?
I'm in a dark, actually, I don't know if you told the audience, but I'm actually walking under the Sphinx in Egypt right now. Live with Greg Angello.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman.
Yes, we'd like to welcome everybody to a very first recording podcast of Planet One Radio. Greg Angello with you with some strange guy on the other side.
Hello, my name is Enrico.
Enrico.
Come from Venezuela.
Oh, then you must be having a deportation notice coming your way.
Actually, I'm running from Donald Trump, the Orange Man. I escaped to Canada with my friend John. John, hello. Greg, thanks for having us on. That was Enrico, who is a runaway kind of refugee from the United States. And
oh, he is.
we're sheltering him here in Canada. We have a liberal government, and we'll basically...
Wait. What do you mean you have a liberal government? Like, what does that mean, man?
Well, it's a liberal...
Lightweight? Is liberal like lightweight?
Well, liberal is like left, to the left, to the extreme left.
To your left. Is this something that just recently happened?
This has been brewing for years.
Well, let's get the audience up to speed on what's going on. So we'd like to welcome everybody back to Planet One Radio. Greg Angello here in the studio, and on the other side is the guy that I had mentioned before on a couple of our videos, John. Are we going by John C? CJ?
Yeah, that's fine.
John C.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me, Greg.
Yeah, he wants to be anonymous because he's a big tycoon in Canada. He's in the steel business, and this is the guy that him and I we met in broadcast school about 40 years ago.
Oh, back in the 80s.
Well, if you do the math,
brother, it was good times.
And then we flew to La Florida, as you used to say.
Yeah, and it was an adventure, that's for sure. There was a couple of close calls, but we ended up pulling through on most of them.
A couple of alligators in the way.
Anything that would embarrass you to your friends and audience, Greg, but I can tell a couple of whoppers, that's for sure.
Oh, I know a few of them with you, that's for sure. Yeah, whatever you want to say, I'll listen. I'll deny it all. I'll deny it all.
Yeah, I'd rather not go down that rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I was the one that was burning down the apartment.
Oh, that was a great time. I got to admit, it was back when we were young and foolish and didn't know any better.
Yeah, when we had darker hair, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It's changed over the years, of course. With more mileage comes more
wisdom.
Things.
But yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Listen, for those that are listening now, John and I will banter back and forth for quite a long time. But You seem a little nervous now. What's going on?
Who, me?
Yeah, you're just like,
Well, I don't know if it's maybe because I know that you're recording or, some kind of subliminal thing where I'm kind of watching what I say. But I know that you're pretty open to any kind of vernacular, basically, as long as it's not, you know, unacceptable, I guess.
yeah, with like, foul language. That's why we have that. Where's my button? Where's that one that kills you?
You got a button for that.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. What did we say?
Okay.
When you get in trouble, we just hit the button, man.
Yeah, the only reason why I said it is because sometimes I get out of hand and I might have to be beeped a few times.
Mm-hmm. So what have you been doing all day?
Well,
Everybody wants to know what you've been doing all day.
I got a few projects on the go right now. Right now, I'm focusing on a custom spiraling staircase from a second floor to a first floor.
Is that like a stairway to heaven you're doing?
No, it's a staircase to a second floor. And I just finished a sculpture for a local city here. Installed that. When was it? The Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, May 5th, yeah.
Can I forget? What's that?
It was May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo.
Mm-hmm. Last Monday. Right. So the sculpture, what was it made out of? Iron? Steel? Cement?
It was a
plastic?
for the Gordie Howe Bridge in...
Oh. Gordie Howe's got a bridge.
The new $4 billion bridge they just built from Detroit to Windsor, Ontario. And
is it like next to the Ambassador Bridge?
It's actually halfway between the Ambassador Bridge and the new Gordie Howe Bridge.
Mm.
And it's on the lake shore or the riverfront there. And yeah.
How much were the tariffs for that to get all that done?
Well, unfortunately, for me, I wasn't able to recoup any of the tariffs. But on a good note, most of it was USA free.
So who funded the whole program? Was it the government?
It was the Gordie Howe Bridge Commission, and yeah, it's somehow tied to the government. Yeah, it's always a question mark, when dealing with a government agency or sometimes even a nonprofit agency. This was for the French Canadians, French-speaking Canadians that wanted to or received a government grant to install or create this sculpture. It's a canoe, an old-fashioned 18th century canoe or 17th century that the explorers used back in the day.
Sounds thrilling and exciting.
Using birch bark and yeah. Well, I apologize if I don't sound enthused right now, but I got to tell you, just talking about it,
Sounds like you need a caffeine pill or something, or maybe
Yeah.
Maybe you need a jolt from a 12-volt battery.
Hang on a sec. I'm gonna pour myself a drink of water here.
Speaking of water, if you hear in the background, it's raining again. So it's what it sounds like in the studio.
Well, the trees and the ducks are loving it. Saying, "Bring it on."
So I got to tell you the story that happened earlier today. So my wife's birthday is May 5th. And then Mother's Day is the 11th, right? So it's almost like when you have your birthday is around Christmas time, right? So, it's like, what do? You got the birthday, and you got Mother's Day, and try to put them all together. So I got this really, really nice, these really nice flowers, tulips, all kinds of different ones. Okay. So, now she was up in Tennessee for three or 4 days. So she just got back on Sunday night, and she was with Isaac. But those beautiful flowers were sitting on the kitchen table, and they were looking kind of sad, drooling over and all of that. So I'm like, those should go outside because it's nice and sunny, and it's also like the rain was coming down, and they're getting a drink of water, they're getting the sun. What do they call that? The photosynthesis thing going on, right? So I got all that going out there, and it's in a nice pot. So she comes back from work, and she sees the pot outside, and I got scolded. So she's like, "What are those doing outside in the rain?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" It's like, they're getting watered, they're getting a drink, the sun is on them. And man, so for those of you men that are listening, if you get your wife flowers or your girlfriend flowers in a pot, just leave them on the table until they wilt away. That's all I can tell you. Because, what were they going to happen? What was going to happen after that?
Well, really, that's probably the best place to keep them fresh, I would think. No?
Where? On the table?
No, outside.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was thinking. Like if I was a plant in a pot sitting on a kitchen table with this, fluorescent light or whatever it is over my head, right? No wind, no real nice breeze. Like, where would I be? I would want to be outside.
It could also be where she got so excited that you got her the flowers that she did, she just couldn't see them getting damaged in the rain, and she was passionate about it, and to you it sounded like a scolding.
So that's not all that happened.
Sometimes tone and delivery.
Oh man, I tell you,
can really set off a lot of false flags.
So the other thing that happened, so on top of the beautiful flowers and the tulips and all that, some of them were purple, some of them were orange. I mean, it was a really, really nice combination. So she also likes strawberry cheesecake. I don't know if you like strawberry cheesecake, and tiramisu. Okay. And I know you like tiramisu, John.
Oh, I've had it many times. Too many times.
I mean, for Italians, you probably use it for just like for lotion on your skin.
No. No.
So no? Okay. Well, I bet you maybe in some of them might. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But so I got her those. And then there was a carrot cake. Okay. Now, she's going to Tennessee, and I'm like, okay. She's like, well, you can, just whatever you want to do with those. She had some of them, for her birthday and all of that. And I'm like, okay, well, I go, why don't you just take them with you? Take it all with you. She goes, nah, it's fine. Just leave them all there and da-da-da-da-da. But the carrot cake was in the freezer. Okay. Now, she's had some of the carrot cake. And then when she came back, apparently she had some more because, the carrot cake box was, I think it was like maybe 9 inches, 12 inches long box. It wasn't no little tiny little piece of cake. It was pretty large. Well, there was like one tiny little sliver left in the freezer of the carrot cake, John. I decided to eat it. What do you think happened when she went to go look for the little sliver left of the carrot cake?
I don't know.
Well, take a guess.
She said, "Where is it?"
She went off like, "What happened to my carrot cake?" I'm like, "Honey, you were like, it's okay, you're leaving, you can have it." She goes, "But it was like I go, "But," so anyway.
Oh, she got hangry.
Oh, yeah, she
got hangry. See, there's an expression now for everything, especially with the new generation. And that looks like a classic case of being hangry. She got her hopes up high about this carrot cake. Her mouth was watering just thinking about it. She opens up the fridge. She looks. Oh, my goodness. All that excitement and anticipation flushed down the toilet like it never existed. And who can I use as a punching bag right now?
I'm the only one in the room. What do you think?
Over here, I got something to say to you, pal.
So I tried to reiterate the statement that she made before she left was, "It's okay. You want to take them with you, honey?" I should have had a recording of it on my phone. For those of you who are listening, you guys out there, we got to do a CYA, okay? So because we'll say something, and then they'll say, "Oh, no, it's okay." And then later, you get in trouble. Now, some of the women who are probably listening to the show, if there are any, are probably like, "Yeah, she was right. You should not have taken the last sliver of the carrot cake that was in the freezer."
Well, it is kind of inconsiderate.
She used that word. That was the word that came up.
Well, I could see her going there. You're sharing. Hey, let's throw the cards on the table. Just exactly how much of that carrot cake did you actually have? If you were, was it a 10-incher or a 12-incher?
It was a pretty big, long. It had to be at least. I would say it's like at least 9 inches. It wasn't a foot long, but 9 inches is a pretty good size.
It's a good hunk.
Yeah,
So out of the,
I hear some make 3, 4, 5 inches, but 9. That's a pretty good size. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, especially if she just had a small taste of it and turned around and most of the cake was gone except for a small sliver, which she thought maybe I'll have it later. Whoever ate the 95% of the sponge cake certainly is not going to come back for that sliver.
I 100%.
I'm just joking around with you, brother. I don't know how much cake you ate. I know that your boy there is getting big. Every time you send me a picture, it looks like he's growing by the day.
Yeah, 100%. But wait, I'm not finished. I'm not finished yet. We'll get to Isaac in a second. Okay, but the story of the carrot cake is not done yet.
Oh,
So,
carrot cake drama.
yeah. So here I am now. I got in trouble. So I went out and I got her another carrot cake.
Okay.
So I got her another carrot cake. Now this wasn't another 9-incher, but it was another one that was made in New York. That's what the box said, because the price tag looked like it came from New York. But the other thing that she likes, she loves caramel. Okay, she does. She's a big fan of caramel. So there was another cake that was next to the carrot cake, and it was a salted caramel cake. So I'm like, I need to make amends over this whole thing. So I ran out, got her the carrot cake and the salted caramel to make it better. Because you just cannot what are you going to do after that? I mean,
Well, it sounded like a kind of a maneuver that you made there and took off. Did you announce that you were going to get her another carrot cake?
I pretty much did.
Okay.
But she's like, no, because she just wanted to just keep reminding me of what an idiot I am for eating the last piece of carrot cake. Because she said it over and over again, this is my birthday.
Well, she was hangry.
Mm-hmm.
She was very hangry, and she, couldn't have her carrot cake and eat it too.
I figure, I got to do something. So now that may even have caused more consternation, because she seems to get it's like maybe you got the upper hand on the conversation. Okay. Because there's many things that happen in relationships where the words get all kind of discombobulated, and you're trying to make amends, and they want to have their footing, and they want to make sure that, they're letting you know what they think. And when you try to make amends, okay, sometimes it's like, oh, now he's going to try to make it better, and how am I going to respond to that? So I just say, just go do it. Just go do it.
You can get marriage counseling,
I'd just rather just talk about it on the podcast.
Greg, I'm not a marriage counselor. Sorry.
No, I'm not going to be sitting on some couch and having someone tell me, this is what you should have done. Well, I already did it, and that was the best remedy that I came up with. And I'm sure that now she's got more than what she had before. So she should be happy.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any circumstances that you had to make amends for when like maybe you had a really nice plate of carbonara and your wife's like, what happened to... There was some in the refrigerator, John. Did you eat the rest of the carbonara?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty considerate myself.
Okay, go ahead, let it out.
No, I don't have these issues with the food.
Yeah, you've never made a mistake.
Wow, there's plenty of mistakes. Hey, we weren't talking mistakes, and I don't really think that was a mistake.
Right.
Eating a piece of, walking up to the fridge and noticing a piece of carrot cake there, sitting there,
My concern is it was going to be in there for a long time.
Well,
and it was getting old. I mean, how long do they last?
You took that.
It's been a week, right? Don't you think that a week now, the product is not really all that enjoyable? That's what I'm saying. So maybe I was trying to do her a favor. See, now I'm just trying to cover everything now.
No, I don't think really. I don't think that you did anything that was unlawful.
I didn't break any laws.
No, you opened the fridge, you looked, you saw a piece of carrot cake, and you thought, "Hey, that sounds like a pretty good idea right now," and you ate it.
Yeah.
Now, what
Right.
is that a good excuse to become hangry and aggressive? I don't know. It depends on how hangry the person. It's all on a continuum, brother. It's in marriage, it's got plenty of challenges.
Oh, 100%. But, I should have learned from past experiences. Now, she's just the person who doesn't like to share. Like if you go to a restaurant, right, and you order dessert. Now, I remember one time. You ever had like one of those chocolate volcano, chocolate volcano cakes, right?
Yeah.
And then they got all the fudge and the chocolate like pouring out of it, right? I mean, it's kind of tough for one person to eat it. So I remember we ordered dessert, and she had the chocolate volcano cake in front of her, and I reached over with my fork, and that was a mistake. She's like, "That's mine." Okay.
She may have been hangry once again. I'm starting, but I'm also noticing a pattern with you, Greg. If you don't mind me mentioning,
Go right ahead.
You seem to be pretty good with the fork.
I don't know what that means, but I don't know what that means. I really don't. All right, maybe we should move on to another subject. Yeah. So, Isaac.
By all means, let's move on.
Right. Right after these messages from Bugs Bunny. Yeah. Yeah. So, you were talking to Isaac a little bit this afternoon on the car speaker, and yeah, he's grown considerably now, and I was amazed that the shoe size that he had to get, because we basically had to take him out put him into new shoes like almost every 3 months. Now, most children will go through, especially boys, will go through shoes very quickly. Right? They don't tie them. They don't care. They look brand new for about an hour. And then after that, they look like they just got, beat up, cuts and all kinds of things and tears, and I have no idea what happened to the parts of the laces. It's like, what happened to the strings that wasn't like, how did the tips come off? I don't know, Daddy. Well, they were on this morning. So, but anyway, he's got a size 11 shoe that he's wearing.
Wow. That is huge. How old is he right now?
He's 9. He's going to turn 10 in actually a month from today. So June 13th is going to be his 10th birthday.
Wow. Size 11?
So I have to say that my wife was very, she was on top of it. She was very smart about it, because she ended up getting him another pair of shoes, and that size is a 12. Because she's figuring the 11 in a month or two, or maybe 3, or maybe when he starts school again, he's going to be grown out of that pair of 11s. So now he's got another pair, brand new. We're waiting for that another inch to grow, that big toe. So now I can't get over it. I just can't get over it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like he's growing. That's for sure. You must be feeding him lots of lasagna.
He will have a entire bag of tortellinis. that could probably feed 2 people. Easily.
Okay.
Easily.
All right.
The most that I've seen him is that when we've made burgers, he's had 3.
Wow.
And then later he's still hungry.
Well, as they say, he's a growing boy.
Really? Yeah. Now,
Feed him and he shall grow.
right. That's right. So, but it's good though. I mean, he's enjoying it. So, but I'm very, very grateful that he's going to be graduating from 4th grade because it's been really tough for him. I mean, I can't get over the amount of work that he has to do in his entire, school day. I mean, it's incredible. From when you and I were in elementary school.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has changed dramatically. The things that they expect from the kids, and a lot of the studies show that children, their ideal peak performance isn't exactly, and especially teenagers, isn't exactly at the time that they start school. What time do schools start in the U.S. right now?
Well, I think it depends, if it's public, private, but most schools, for at least they'll start. I think it's either like 7 or 7, usually about 7:20 is when they start. Now, there may be some schools that start at 8. Now, high school kids will probably start a little bit later, but elementary kids, junior high, I think they got to be in their seat and ready to go like at 7:20, I'd say 7:30.
Okay. All right. So it's pretty much the same here in Canada.
You have schools in Canada?
Yeah, we got schools in Canada.
Run by the leftist government.
Yeah. But, yeah, getting back.
I'm not editing that out, by the way. I don't really care.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought there. We're talking about the schools.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, the schools have really changed. They're expecting a lot from these kids. A lot of stuff that they're teaching is basically useless. We do have the same experience as kids ourselves because we know what things, like basic life skills, and we've trained this next we've been trained that if you go to school and get a degree, you're going to make a good living and you don't have to worry about that.
What a crock.
Yeah.
What a crock.
What do we find? That no, that doesn't apply. That may apply to some people, but it's not a general rule of thumb for everybody. It's and nowadays with the new studies, I think that a lot of this stuff is beginning to change. I'm not really a Trump fan, but revamping the education system in the States would be a really good place to start. Why? Because of the new generation. And that's the thing, is a lot of people don't think about the next generation. Unless you have kids, then you're, or grandkids, then you're thinking about that. But
well, I mean, that is really a deep subject as far as education is concerned, but I would say that, and obviously what's going on here, even though that you're in Canada, you've seen the stuff that was going on in the last administration, what they were introducing in the schools, what the kids were reading, and all of that, and how parents were upset because it was really a lot of it had to do with the school districts, the school. I wouldn't say so much policy. It was more about the school's control over what they wanted to dictate children could read, and they were being introduced to curriculum that was obviously outrageous, and it's just about some sort of ideology that a lot of people just can't get their head around. Like, why would you actually teach vulnerable children that are in the kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and introduce them to garbage? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, what's the point, unless they're trying to change the way that the gender, it's basically gender ideology is what they're trying to change. I don't know what the purpose is, to be frank. I really don't know. I still don't understand it, other than it's the fact of its control. But it's also the money that's being spent. So that's why this big argument that got into effect with the new administration was just eliminating the Department of Education, because if that's what they're going to be doing to the schools in the United States with the money that they're given, then they shouldn't have it. They should just let the schools handle it and make the schools be responsible for what they spend. Now, you still can't control in these school districts what they're going to give out to their children. So it's a mess. It really is a mess. But we had a conversation over the weekend. I think it was you and I. You were talking about Plato and Socrates. And if you ever read, the Great Societies, it was all about education, right? Like, how do you control a society? It's through education.
Of course. In science, right? Yeah, definitely education. It's the number one. Knowledge is power, as they say. But without knowing how to implement the knowledge, it's just that, right? It's just knowledge.
Yeah. But here's the thing that I'm not so much puzzled by, but it's just wild. So let's say you take two babies, infants. Both of them are in the United States. One child is born to American English-speaking parents, and the other, let's just say they're Indian. Okay? So you have Indian parents, American parents. They both have infants, and the American parents are speaking English to their children, right? Yes, no, all of those things. And then you have Indian parents who are speaking to their children in their language, and they understand what those words mean, like stop, run, don't, in their language. Now, how does a child, because I don't speak that language, but the child will hear it and know what it means. And now, I've been around many different cultures, especially in real estate. I've been in many homes where there's different dialects, and they'll speak English and they'll speak their own native language. And the child will understand both.
Yeah. Linguistics, it's a very interesting topic. I've run into it, I don't know how many times. What's funny is the primary language that we learn as infants is that, right? It's the primary language. And if you speak to anybody in that language, you would sound like anybody else. But when you introduce another language, depending on how young the child is, the person using the secondary language or third or fourth has an accent. Like, for example, when I speak Italian, I have a American or Canadian accent when I speak. Everybody in Italy can hear it plain as day. I'm the only one that can't hear it. Because to me, in my mind, I'm speaking correctly. It's very in that's linguistics and a lot of the translations from one language to another is a slippery slope sometimes.
Yeah, it's just wild. Now, a friend of mine that I've known for years he's up in Michigan. He's Italian, but he speaks English. He speaks American English, and he married a Russian girl. Okay.
Okay.
So he went and got himself a Russian bride and brought her to the United States. Well, they had a child together. And
okay.
So she speaks to the child when the child was a baby in Russian. Now, my friend doesn't speak Russian.
Oh, boy.
So he's trying to communicate as well, daddy, don't do that, stop. But she's communicating to him in Russian. And he's understanding it. And he's like, never been introduced to that language before, right? It's like you driving an American car and then you put yourself into a foreign car. Now, I know it's not all that difficult, but, they're not really the same. Most American cars, a stick shift, you know where it is and this and that. But in some of these foreign cars, let's say a Mercedes Benz, okay? Like, where's the drive and the neutral and the reverse in a Mercedes Benz? Do you know where they are, John?
It's push button, isn't it?
It looks like it's the windshield wiper control arm.
Oh, okay.
So, and I got into one, and I'm looking for the gear shift. And I had no idea that right there would look like it had to be the wiper control arm, because one side had to be for the turn signals. And I'm like, well, this one's got to be for the wipers. And it's like, oh no, this one puts it in drive. And then if you push it up, it's in reverse. You push it down, it's in drive. And there's a button in the middle, and that's park. I'm like, okay. Now, people who drive Mercedes-Benz on a regular basis, or even those in Germany, they know exactly where it is.
Yeah, not always. Not always. I mean, if you're unfamiliar with a particular model or vehicle, I can see somebody look, a lot of the new technology, right? I'm standing there scratching my head thinking, wow, if one of these chips or something, because there's a lot of technology in the newer vehicles. It's just an amazing amount of technology and sensors and all kinds of different things. If one of these little chips burnt out,
right?
Now I run a business. Okay, if one of my vehicles is down, then I'm losing. This one particular vehicle that I have, it just stopped working. Brought it into the dealership. It's a new vehicle. It was a chip. Okay. The chips, they did not have this chip in I was told at the beginning, though, that, just give us a couple of days and we'll have it here and we'll take care of it. We'll change up this chip. So long story short, 3 months later, my chip arrives.
Mm.
And obviously it came in on a ship, right? 90 days, I'd say, is pretty much a good...
It came on the Santa Maria.
Right. And,
Back in the colonial days, I finally got my chip.
So that kind of makes me wonder, whether all these new vehicles, sure, they run great and the technology is amazing. If one of the chips gives out, and these chips, I guess they run multiple things
Right.
in the vehicle. And if they're not available readily, I could see some people waiting for their vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe it's been done by design. I really do. Because, like, you and I are pretty close to the same age, right? There's just a few years separating us. So, we had the old cars, you had the spark plugs. You could twist them on and twist them off and put the cap on them, and you could basically, change the air filter, loosen up the cap, take off the filter, put a new one in. It was very, very simple. You could basically change the oil.
Everything was there in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a distributor cap, a little bit of oxidation, you can get some sandpaper and sand it up a little bit, reassemble it, and away you go.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you open up, Greg, my wife's car, I just, look inside, it's all plastic covered. So to actually see the motor, you have to dismantle,
The cover.
2,500 screws before you could see what's going on inside the vehicle. And then the same thing on the inside, right? There's cover upon cover, and you're right. It almost makes you wonder whether, it's designed like that, like the phones. The phones, we're, like you said, about the same age. We go back to the Novotel and the Motorola, when it first, there was nothing but, anyways.
The bag phones. Yep.
Yeah.
Was there a point you were making?
Well, the point is on my head, I guess.
Okay. I get it. I think I do. Maybe I don't. So maybe this might be a good time to pause.
I'm sorry, Greg. I lost my train of thought.
I know you did. You just went somewhere, like you went left somewhere. So, but we're back with Planet One Radio, Greg Angello and John C. from Canada. This is our very first podcast that we're doing, and we hope that we're not boring you to tears. But it's interesting banter, I'd say. We're going to get into some other stuff, some other topics, but it doesn't really matter what the topic is all that much, because it's just, this is life stuff that we deal with, and many of you that listen, basically, you're dealing with the same things, same issues. It's all like we're being controlled by technology today, right? Technology is controlling us. If your phone's not working right, you got a problem.
Oh, you just reminded me of where I was going there with the phone. It almost seems like the phones, and we go back right to the 80s, 90s, etc. The phones seem like, is it just me, or does it seem like, they're designed, especially if you're buying them on like a program where, it's so much a month, and, they give you the phone.
It's a lease. It's a lease phone.
Pay a deposit or a down payment, and then it's like, whatever, $5 a month until the phone is paid off, or
right.
$10 or whatever it is. Is it me, or does it seem like they go into like a self-destruct mode after 2 years?
Well, the thing of it is that there's always these updates that are going on these phones. And getting back to the car, when you were talking about the chip, all right? So one of the biggest complaints with the Teslas is that there is constant updating that's being done. Constant. Now, a lot of vehicles today, they'll have recalls, right? There's a manufacturer recall on these vehicles, and a lot of them haven't been performed yet, or there's a remedy that's unavailable yet. But for people that I know, because I do dabble in the car business as well, the biggest issue with them is the things that they have to deal with the updates for the Tesla. And if one thing isn't operating properly, then as you said before, then nothing else is really working right.
That's right.
And the other thing with these electric vehicles, I mean, after they've been charged over and over again, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years, the battery's never really 100% charged. It's just, I spoke to someone about that, and they said that what will happen is, as the batteries get older, that you'll only get about 80% of a charging capacity. And then the other 20%, if you're going to continue to plug it in and keep it so you'll get the rest of the charge done to 100%, it will take forever for that last 20% to be fully charged, because the battery just doesn't have the amount of power or whatever it had. Like when you first got it, it's like when you get, your AA batteries, and ever-ready batteries, and they're just not working well because it's time to replace them. But you can't replace a battery in a Tesla. You're just going to have to get a new car.
Yeah, that's the automotive industry is a whole another topic. I mean, going right back to Henry Ford and the first hybrid that he came out with there that ran on alcohol, that he wanted all his farmer friends to be able to grow their own crops and distill their own alcohol and run the vehicle. There was actually a switch. I think it's still at the Detroit, the Henry Ford Museum there on display, where there's actually a switch where you could switch it from gasoline to alcohol. But big industry, big oil at that time, it was, the oil boom. They talked him into just manufacturing the automobiles that ran on just strictly gas or oil. It's, and the electric vehicles have been known, they're fine in a southern state or in South America, equatorial. But as far as winter and like below temperatures, those batteries don't last too long. I wouldn't trust them on a Canadian highway at 45 below with the wind chill. All of a sudden,
right? You're out there with an ice pick, chipping away to get that battery working, right? Like, that's crazy, man. But I wanted to shift a little bit. We've got about maybe 7 minutes left, because we're going to try to keep this within an hour for those of you who have stuck around for us. Because I do want to talk a little bit about radio, because you and I were we were involved with that. We went to broadcast school together and all that. And then there's that friend of ours that's up in Michigan, right? Like, so I was on that WPON 1460 with Martin Anthony. And so I sent him a message, and I told him that there was a brand new radio station. I don't know if you remember, if you were there at the time, but there was a new station that was being launched, but nobody really knew about it. But when you put on the dial of the station, all you heard was a heartbeat. Bump, 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 bump. And it was 24/7 for about 3 or 4 days in a row. And people were like, what's going on? Bump, 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 bump. Heartbeat. And
sounds like a horror film, huh?
So now I don't know if they were, you just had to listen and continue to tune in to find out what was going on. but those of us in the industry kind of knew, but maybe the general public didn't know. And then all of a sudden, on this particular day, I don't know if it was a Friday or maybe a Friday morning, I can't remember, it was afternoon, the heartbeat stopped and you heard all this commotion going on, like you were in a hospital, and you had this announcement going on. It was like, Dr. So-and, Dr. Please get to the room, the emergency room. Doctor calling Dr. So. And you hear all this hustling and bustling and all this ruckus going on, and and they get into the room, and all of a sudden the doctor's making this announcement: Is it ready now? Yes, doctor, ready. And you heard this slap, this smack, and the baby starts. You hear this cry of a baby, and this baby's crying. And the music started, right? So that was pretty wild. And so I'm telling Martin that. And Martin sends me a message, and he goes, yeah, that's what they do for a new radio station. I mean, that was it. He's like, yeah, that's what they do. So that was pretty wild.
Martin. Yeah, he was quite the friendly fellow, I found. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, he is. He's very friendly. Getting back to that. So when I got on, I went from that oldie station that I was at, the overnight's oldie station. And then I said, I got to move on to something different. I got to get on, and I wanted to get on that FM station that I told you about, that WRCC. So they brought me in, and there was a overnight person who was on the show. And she's like, so how are we going to introduce you into it? Just like when you started the show, you're telling me, whoever you were, that you were from Venezuela, right? So she starts, and she's going, I'm really hungry. I think I'm going to order a pizza. So she's pretending she's ordering a pizza. She's calling up, I want a large pepperoni, this and that, all that stuff. And I come now, people have no idea what's going on other than the fact, like, why is she on the air talking about a pepperoni pizza? So we staged it. So I kind of like go in, and I'm like, yes, hey, I'm your delivery person. I'm here to deliver your pepperoni pizza. And so she's like, great, this is really cool. Oh, yeah, it took you, like, how long did it take you to get down to Cape Coral with my pizza? Well, I alligators and snakes and all that, and I finally got there, and here it is, and it still looks pretty fresh. And she's like, great. Hey, why don't you do me a favor? I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to enjoy my pepperoni pizza, and you can take over, and you can run the board. And I'm like, well, I really don't know how any of these instruments work. Like, what am I going to do? She's like, it's very simple. Just push this button and play this card. And boom, that's what we did. And that's how I get on the air. What do you think of that?
I think you're amazing. Some of the talent that you display, brother, over the years. It's just, you're just an undiscovered talent, I think. And now with these podcasts, you're putting your best foot forward and coming out,
And I'm doing it all without any mind-altering drugs. I'm just letting you all know that. We haven't licked a spoon today, okay?
I was going to ask you about that ayahuasca trip you took to South America, but I guess that topic is off. It's off limits right now, I would imagine.
There's just a wide variety of mushrooms. That's all I can tell you. Have your pick of what you want.
Oh, now with the Native American Indians, I should have known better. Oh, Greg.
So what else is on your mind? We're going to wrap it up here in just a little bit. So what else is going on while we...
Well, I'm excited about your new endeavor here. And I'm willing to step aboard.
And make a really large financial investment? Thank you.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to talk it over with my business advisor, but
Mrs. C.
anything I can do, you know me, Greg. I'm a big spender, so
Yeah, that's true. And it's true. You are. It's like,
I'm
so
sure myself and all the listening audience would be more than happy to contribute to your GoFundMe.
send me some carrot cake, man. Send me some carrot cake. That's what I need.
You're going.
Little mushrooms on the side and some carrot cake, and that's all I'll need. I don't need money.
Well, if you're looking to, set up a GoFundMe page.
It's called a Go Me account. That's what it is. At least I'm not, at my age, I'm not in any cognitive decline. That's for sure. All my mental faculties are in place. Now, I will say every now and then, my biggest issue I have, and I mentioned this on, I did a video last week, and I said that, I really don't feel my age because, and I don't mind talking about my age and, and my past and things like that, what I've overcome. And I think we should do another podcast and talk about things that we've overcome in our life. And I have people that I've known around that, were heavy drinkers, alcoholics, things like that. So I don't drink anymore. All of that is many, many years ago. And so I said on the video that I did, and you can check it out. You can go to Planet One Radio on YouTube and you'll find the video there. And I basically said that I'm going to be turning 63 in the end of July. And I don't feel whatever it's supposed to feel like, I don't feel it. But I will forget things like where I put things. Okay. So my biggest issue, and I don't know if John, if you deal with that or anybody else that's listening, but I'll put my phone down. And then I'll be going somewhere else, and I'll turn around 5, 10, 15 minutes later, whatever it is, and I'm like, where's my phone? I totally forget where I put it. And there'll be time, I'm walking around like I walked around I went everywhere. I walked all over the house. I went into my car. I'm like, where is it? I mean, it was just here a minute ago. Like, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, I would say that you're not alone there. I mean, I could think of just a half a dozen experiences that I've had that, but even kids, the new generation's got terminology for everything, right? Every symptom. They refer to that as a brain fart, where it's just a temper, you got so many things on your mind, or you're multitasking with the thought process, and things get out of whack and you forget a simple thing. One example that I could think of for me was the one time, well, I don't know, maybe more than one that I could remember, but I was looking all over for my glasses, couldn't find my glasses anywhere. You know where they were, Vinny?
On top of your head.
Exactly.
Now that's a little out there.
Yeah. And I was, totally embarrassed. And, my wife said, did you end up finding it? Oh, yeah, I found my glass. I was, I'm thinking to myself, I better not.
You're stunado is what you are.
I better not say anything. Yeah.
You're stunado. But here's really the interesting thing that I want to know. Was your wife looking at you the whole time where you're trying to find your glasses, and she looks on your top of your head and she sees them, but she ain't saying nothing? She's just going to wait for you.
No. She was in the kitchen, and I was in my studio, and she just heard me through the hall, and yeah.
Now,
I was alone. I was alone, fortunately. So, but not that I haven't had any other embarrassing moments. Oh my goodness, Greg. You know, we can do an entire show on some of my most embarrassing moments in life. And I have no problem discussing them and yeah, to do a podcast of overcoming things like you were saying is, I think that's an excellent idea. There's a lot of listeners out there that are overcoming things right now as we speak, you know.
they're trying to overcome this podcast, that's for sure. So that is a great place to end it, is on our lack of memory and our embarrassing moments for next time. What do you think?
Okay, folks. Yeah, I think I'd like to salute the listening audience right now. Thank you for enduring a conversation that I've had with my friend Greg.
60 minutes of mind-boggling conversation.
Yeah, we'll get into some mind bogglers. I don't mind going down the rabbit hole now and then.
Right. I got a couple of plugs before we got to go. All right. Because I told some people I was going to plug, give them a shout out. Okay. So the one of the people that I've known for at least 40 years, I would say. Well, I don't have my calculator, but since 1996, Michael Balagna. Michael is one of the top investment brokers, I'd say, in the country. And he is in Michigan. He's in Brighton, Michigan. And he does his investing portfolios through LPL, which is Linsco Private Ledger. So we'll have some information for you on how, for those of you who are, maybe you're new to the investment market, or there's other products out there for life insurance or whatever it is, for annuities or all of those things that I would recommend. And also, if you're looking to get into real estate, if you're looking to buy real estate, sell real estate, and you're in the Michigan area, Southeast Michigan area, I was with a broker firm they're part of the RE/MAX group. So RE/MAX Eclipse is a great group of people. So Nicholas Pinozzi, kind of sound a little Italian to me, and Nicholas Pinozzi and Ryan Kelly work together. They have, I think, 5 or 6 offices now throughout Southeast Michigan. So they are great guys. They've got great number of agents. And we can have a link for you to reach out to them if you're up in Michigan. So, but if you're moving down to the Carolinas and you need a home, that sort of thing, you can also reach out to me. We'll put you in with someone. If you're looking to build something in Canada, then you can reach out to John.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think that's going to do it. We appreciate you all for being with us today and putting up with us and our banter and all that. It's been great. We appreciate you. So for John C., my very good friend, Mike, my brother, this is Greg Angello, Planet One Radio. We will see you next time. Take care. Be kind to one another. Love one another. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Greg.